Boxing King Media in association with BOXXER, Spencer Oliver, a big show for Sky Sports. We're out here at the Newcastle Football Stadium. Which fight are you most excited about?
Do you know the fight that I really like? I like Florian Marku and Chris Jenkins. I think stylistically we're going to get something good, and it's a sort of coming of age fight for Florian Marku. You know, it's another step up in class against former British champion Chris Jenkins, who's tough and showed that he's still got a lot left in the tank against, you know, Julius Ndongo last time out. He looked good, he looked sharp. Yes, Ndongo was way past his best, but you've still got to get the job done and get it done in fashion, and he'd done that. So yeah, that's a fight that I'm really looking forward to, and obviously Savannah Marshall as well, because I want to see her go on, and I want to see that fight with Clarissa Shields. You know, they've got history between them. Savannah's the only girl ever to have beaten Clarissa. That's, you know, got under Clarissa's skin. We saw Clarissa come over here and box in Cardiff, and we saw the argument after, and it's a fight that's been built as, you know, one of the biggest fights in women's boxing history, and I think it is, you know, and I think we're going to have something special. We're here today at the press conference in St James's Park. It's great. You said it yourself earlier. It's like, you know, you go out there, it looks amazing. I was out there with Savannah earlier actually, and she was talking about, you know, coming here as a kid and she couldn't afford a ticket to even get in the ground, and now, you know, like, she may be topping a bill here against, you know, Clarissa Shields, and that's what they're talking about. And when you're out there and you're soaking up that atmosphere, you're thinking, wow, imagine that. Women topping a bill and filling a football stadium. That's how women's boxing's evolved, you know, over the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm excited, really excited.
Well, like you said there's like, what, 2 or 3 women fighting on the undercard who, to be fair, early in the week I never even heard of. So yeah, it's great to see how women's boxing's progressing. Were you surprised how Florian and Chris Jenkins, there weren't much needle there? I expected there to be a bit of back and forward.
Chris Jenkins diffused it, that's why. Chris Jenkins done well. You know what Florian's like. Florian feeds off his opponent, and his opponent saying anything negative about Florian or saying that he's going to win the fight or doing whatever, then Florian, you give Florian Marku ammunition then to come back, and Chris Jenkins played it right there. He played it down and says, you know what, Florian's a good fighter, and I'm expecting a tough fight. But, you know, I'm an experienced guy and I'm bringing that, so let's just see how it goes on the night. Marku couldn't come back to anything like that. I like Florian as a fighter. I like his attitude. I think he brings a lot to the game. I think he's very charismatic. And we're going to see if he can fight, because one thing we do know is Chris Jenkins can. So, yeah, it's a fight that I'm really looking forward to. That's the one that I'm most intrigued about. You know, I think that, you know, Marshall and Hermans, I think that Hermans has sort of been there. She's boxed Clarissa Shields. I think for Savannah Marshall, it's all about making a statement, and that statement is if she can do a better job on MK Hermans than Clarissa Shields done. Clarissa Shields won on points, so I said to, you know, and I think stylistically Savannah does a better job. I think she goes out there. Hermans is one of those fighters that switches all the time, comes forward, a little bit off balance, is not really great. She goes square on a lot, and as we know, Savannah is pound for pound the hardest women's boxer in the world right now.
I think you summed it up nicely there. One fight that we've missed, Zach Chelly. Zach's one of these fighters, he's never really had anyone backing him before, and I feel like now that he's got Sky backing him, he's in a 50-50 fight on paper, he could potentially make a real statement.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a great fight, you know, last minute substitute. But it's
11-0 substitute?
Huh?
An 11-0?
11-0 substitute, yeah, it's a great fight. You know, he was fighting on Saturday anyway. Kevin Kilgannon. Yeah, so it's a fight that I'm really looking forward to. Again, stylistically, it's great. Zach Chilly's full of confidence, school teacher, come dressed like a school teacher today, had the whole 3-piece on and everything. And he's a charismatic guy, and I'm looking forward to the fight, actually. It's a great fight. It's a great card, you know. It's a good card. There's some solid bouts from the undercard, you know. There's some good kids. Brad Ray, I'm really looking forward to. You know, he's really coming into his own now. He's developing nicely, and he's in a good fight as well. So, yeah, it's a real good card. I like these cards. You know, these are like these sort of like, you know, the lesser ones. You get your box office shows, and they're all great. And we've got Mad Fight Weeks, but these are ones like the sort of grassroots where the kids are all developing, and there's some real talent on this bill.
There sure is, Spencer. Just moving on from this bill, and I think you spoke about it yesterday in a couple of other interviews. Danny Williams from your neck of the woods down south. how disappointed are you that the fact that he's still fighting and I mean the stop? I'm sure you've seen the stoppage. It was horrific, wasn't it?
Listen, I'm not disappointed. I'm gutted, actually. Like, me and Danny go way back. We boxed for England together in 1994 Commonwealth Games out in Canada. Danny got a bronze, I got a silver. We was on an amazing journey together. We went on training camps to Tallahassee in Florida. We boxed for England all over the world together. We become good friends. Danny's had an incredible career. Highlight of his career was probably beating Mike Tyson. Yeah, all right, it was a faded Mike Tyson, but the victory is the victory. And then we saw what we saw the other night, where I'm going, what's going on here, mate? Like, Danny, listen, I'm 47, so I know I think he's a year older than me, so he's 48, maybe coming up 49. Who's allowing this to happen? We're in a sport here that I know the consequences that can happen in this sport. It's that, fatalities happen. Serious injuries like the one that I got happen. A 48-year-old guy or 49-year-old guy is not meant to be boxing. This is a young man's sport. Who's in the corner with him? Who's, giving him the water? Who's giving him the advice? Who's allowing it to go on? What governing bodies? I mean, it's insane, mate. Like, it's insane. And, for the safety of Danny and for the health of the sport, we need to get him stop boxing. Someone has got to make this happen. Obviously, no one around him is going to make it happen. And I know they're talking about, he's doing it for his children because they're in private school and everything else. I love that, but I also know Danny's earned a lot of money. So I'm not sure it is that for them reasons. I just think he's one of those guys that can't let go. That continues to box way too long. Like that, what we saw, that farce that we saw with Evander Holyfield, most recently. Like, he's talking about one of the greatest fighters of all time, and you see him getting in the ring and getting bashed up by, an ex-martial arts guy, and I just go, really? Don't want to see it, mate. Like, it breaks my heart with Danny. It's probably the best way to say it. It's like, it hurts me, man, because he's a good guy, and he's just one of those guys that can't let go.
Have you spoken to him recently at all?
No, I haven't. I've spoke to Danny about a year ago was the last time I spoke to him, and it was very briefly about coming on TalkSport, and he didn't want to come on. He said it was a Mike Tyson documentary, actually, when Tyson was doing the fight with Roy Jones Jr. We was doing a Tyson documentary called The Boy from Brownsville, and we was going through Tyson's life and the rise and the fall. We wanted to speak to Danny about, his epic victory, and he declined to speak about it. He said, no, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to get involved in it. And that was it. And, for me to hear that he's still fighting is just like, yeah, it hurts me, man, because, he's sort of like, I've got an attachment with him. Like, so I'm invested in him, really, because I know him. And you see the rise and fall of someone, and what we saw, it was an empty hall, wasn't it? Did you see the fight?
I've seen it, and the disappointing thing is you'll probably know more, but I bet he'd probably get much more than £2,000-3,000.
No, this is the thing. What is he getting there? And he's fighting a geezer that's 15 and over 14 KOs. What the fuck's going on there? That's insane, mate. Like, yeah, it's just, I don't know how it's happening. I don't know who's allowing it to happen. It's somewhere in Germany, I know that, but, who's around him, man? Come on. This is crazy.
I can see you're very passionate about it, Spencer, and I hope, I don't know if you're probably the best person to maybe get in touch with him or somebody that knows him and help him out. Yeah,
definitely. He's not going to listen, though. He's not going to listen to me. I think it's now out of our hands, and I think it's in the hands of the Boxing Federation, whoever that is. The British Boxing Board of Control wouldn't do that. They're a stringent boxing board. They wouldn't allow it in box here, hence why he's gone to Germany. Who are those people? Who are those people allowing that to happen? Perhaps that governing body needs looking at, because we're talking about the health and safety of a human being, man. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And it's like
86 fights.
Yeah, and look at his record now. He had it's nearly a half and half record now. He hasn't won for God knows how long, and they're punishing fights. So yeah, it needs to stop.
We'll leave it on that, Spencer. Thank you so much.
Cheers, bro.